Welcome back to another episode of imho.love. Let me turn it down a little bit so I'm not blaring myself out. I'm not Lou Angel Wolf, in case you're wondering. Lou Angel Wolf is out. I am the co-host, the guest host tonight. Just Gorges. I used to be on their other show that we did back in the day, but now we're on this show. Welcome with me, as always, Mike Murburg. Say hello to everybody, Mike.
Hello to everybody.
Oh, he does talk. Good. And we got another guest. Kathy McGuire is in the studio as well, hanging out. That's your cue.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Hey.
We're on Facebook Live. You can see us right there. You should have left
Is
it
it
on
really?
the other one because she had it up before.
That was really cool.
She had it on like the sketch setting, the filter, and we looked like an video, even back in the 80s. And I was going to like smash from wall to wall and do like a altered state thing. Too old of a reference? Okay, anyway. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. If you would like to be involved in the show locally, you can call us on the phone. The phone number is 727-441-3000 or toll free 1-866-826-1340. You can also check us out streaming live on tantalk1340.com. We're also on the FM dial, 106.1 FM. That's our ode to Steely Dan. All right. Tonight we got an interesting show. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to get a CE5 update from Mike. I'm sure you want to talk about what's been going on at the ranch. Yes, a little bit.
Well, no, it's we haven't been doing anything since earlier on the month, but yeah, we have a contact group planned for weekend after this upcoming weekend.
Perfect.
So if you're interested, hit the go to the Facebook site for Tampa. HICE, CE5, or go to the meetup, join the meetup. It's under the same name.
Perfect. Tonight we're going to talk about, I picked this topic because I thought it was appropriate, when the universe takes care of you and when it does not. When it does not. I think that would be interesting to get a discussion going. Well, let me start first of all by saying I had an interesting experience in the parking lot here at the studio. I was sitting in my car, and I got out of my car, put some music on the iPod there. I was listening to a little AC/DC, get myself amped up for the radio show. And I see this guy pull into the parking lot on a bike, right? So he's riding a bike. That's not too strange. He's got the shorts and T-shirt and backpack. He pulls his bike into the handicap spot, which was, I was like, okay. And then he puts the kickstand down, and he looks at the building, and he looks around at the entrance of the building. And then he looks at me, and I'm like, oh God, here he comes. He's coming over. So he came over and he goes, hey man, what is this place? I said, it's a radio station. And he goes, oh yeah? I said, yeah, radio station. He acted like, wow, cool, right? And then he stopped and he just goes, listen, I got $50 worth of meat on me if you're interested. And I'm like, in your backpack? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm good. No, thank you. I don't want any meat. So, I mean, what the hell?
Hey, I had a stranger experience years ago.
Okay. I
was driving in Tampa, and I took a wrong turn down, I forget where it was. It was over by the river. And I get to a dead end, and there's this big black guy with an axe, and he's holding on to something in his other hand. I couldn't see what it was.
Oh God!
I had back in the day. I had a couple of beers in my car, and I think he's going to come up and I'm new to Tampa. This is like eons ago.
He's got an axe.
He comes up to my car. I'm grabbing a beer to offer him a beer to kind of assuage his whatever was going on, and
your impending slaughter.
Right, exactly. And I see him, and he comes up to my window, and he goes, "Excuse me, sir, would you like to buy a possum?"
Oh my God. Welcome to Florida. Oh, wow. Freshly killed? Was it alive?
It was still alive. He's getting ready to do it in.
Oh my God.
Like, no, but here, have a beer. Let me turn around and see you buy.
Yeah, right. I felt bad for the guy. I was like, yeah, but I'm not. Listen, this happened a number of times where people try to sell you things out of their car. Stereo systems? Maybe I'll have a look. I bought art out of a car one time, like Prince. Meat? I don't think so. I don't think I'm buying meat out of a car or a backpack. Yeah, backpack. He didn't even offer to tell me if there was like a coolant in the backpack or I had a,
there's fresh from Winn-Dixie.
I don't know what the hell he had. Also, I mean, after he left, I was a little disappointed because I should have asked what kind of meat. I really should have said, well, what do you got? You know what I mean? Like, is it pork? What is it?
Possum. Fresh possum.
He looked a little too contemporary for possum. I don't know. I think it was store-bought meat. I really do. And then I was telling Kathy, I had a comedian friend of mine, Brian Hamilton, who offered to sell me. I was telling Vaughn, the producer, Brian Hamilton offered to sell me tamales out of his trunk. And I'm like, I'm not doing that either.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I made him this morning. I'm like, dude, you've been driving around all day with tamales in your car, and not in the car, Not in the trunk.
Yeah.
I don't know what else is in your trunk. I just not no.
Like daytime temperatures of 180 degrees.
First of all, I don't even know what's in a tamale, but I'm pretty sure after a couple hours in a trunk, it's not going to taste the same that was the way it was intended. Is there sour cream in a tamale? Do you know?
If they were stolen, they would be
stolen tamales.
Hot tamales.
Hot tamales.
I'm going to pretend you didn't just do that.
Hey, man, it went over your head. It's like you weren't looking.
Oh my God. We got Kathy McGuire in the studio, and you run Vocal for Media. You want to tell everybody, you've been on the show a couple times, obviously, right?
I'm usually just back over there with Vaughn, though. Yes.
You hang out over there
I
with
hang
Vaughn?
over there with Vaughn.
So did I just put you on the spot?
Yeah, I'm pretending like I'm Lou on Facebook. So when you see comments from Lou, it's really me just saying.
I made the mistake of asking her what were the other 4 names that she had on Facebook, because she's listed as Kathy Potter Trent McGuire, and I'm like, do you just go by Kathy or Kathy? She's just McGuire, Kathy McGuire. I'm like, what about the other 2? I don't want to talk about that. What do you mean you want to talk about?
Well, because women, if we want to find our old friends, our childhood friends, we have the maiden name, which is Potter.
Okay.
And I have the first marriage, which is Trent.
Yeah.
And the second marriage, as in done marriage, which is McGuire. So if I get married again, I'm just not changing my name, because that would be really confusing.
Yeah, or you could move to Iceland and take your father's first name.
Exactly. I could do whatever, right? I could just get rid of it all and just have a pseudonym and then have the little parentheses with all the names like some women do now. So
I don't know.
It
sounds like you're making it more complicated than it has to be.
No, it's really not, because it's like if I had to start all over again when in my 20s, when I first got married, I would have just kept it Potter. I would have never changed my name. It's so hard to change your driver's license and all that stuff.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because I'm adopted and my parents never had a birth certificate.
Okay,
so
that could be a problem.
That was a big problem a couple
passport?
years ago. I didn't have I had a passport without a birth certificate back in the day.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It was different then.
You bought it out of a trunk of a car, didn't you?
I did.
I knew it.
I did.
She got it with a couple of tacos and a pie.
Exactly. It's a cherry pie.
It's a cherry pie. If you've not heard the show before, Lou does a great job on the show of talking about all things spiritual, universal. Mike and Lou have had some experiences in the alien world, CE5, stuff like that. I've had a couple of rare moments on the old show on Lutopia with Mike and Lou, and some of the things that I've learned from Mike actually and Lou, I don't want to keep Lou out of it, but have helped me in my life. So that's why I want to talk about the topic tonight: when the universe takes care of you. There's a little piece of advice that Mike gave me one time, which really helped me in my life, was, when in doubt, do nothing. And where does that originate from, Mike? Where did you get that from?
It's called woo-wee.
Explain that to what a woo-wee is.
Woo-wee. It's a doctrine that comes from the Tao and from Lao Tzu. And basically, it's exactly what you said. When in doubt, do nothing. We were talking about paint earlier before the show went on. It's like there's time to paint and there's time to let it dry. You can't make it dry any quicker if you do anything to it. You just need to stop and let it dry. And when it's time, it's time. And there's an old saying among the Tao that the master knows when to stay knows to stay centered and when to do nothing. So maintain your center, and when in doubt, do nothing, and then all things eventually come to fruition and fall to your feet.
Now, I'm a born cynic, and I'm always skeptical about things in nature, but they're not on this because I've seen it in action. But I know there are some people that when they hear that go, well, you're just slacking. You're just slacking off. You're not taking charge of your life. You're not. There's time to do that, right?
There is, and just tell them, can you make a tree grow any faster? Can you make a flower grow any faster and come to fruition?
And also, if you try to do that, how bad will you mess up the tree? If you try to pull it up and make it.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
Or you're going to damage.
Has a natural harmony to it, and everything, has its own time.
Yeah. I've seen this in my own life. I've had a very chaotic last 3 or 4 years. 3 or 4 years ago, the money situation was really bad. And now it's, things have happened where I'm not really worried about. That's not a big concern right now. As far as I never knew if I was going to own a house. My grandmother decided to give me her home, because she was in nursing home. I didn't expect that to happen. That was out of nowhere. So, I remember doing the rat race thing. Got to get a house. Got to buy a house. How are you going to do that? You know what I'm saying? So I just stopped worrying about it. I just, it'll happen if it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, then I'll figure out whatever.
Right.
That works.
Yeah.
It worked.
It does.
Let's talk about the flip side. What about when it doesn't work? Like I use prayer as an analogy. I don't know if I'm not a religious person. I don't really pray, but I know people say, the prayer does, but sometimes it doesn't.
Well, it all goes back to simplicity, patience, and compassion. Number one, if you're living a simple life, you're satisfied and you're thankful for getting what you need. And you need to separate your wants from your needs. And when it comes to needs, the Tao, the infinite source, will provide whatever you need to live your life in such a fashion for which you were created. So, for example, if I want to go, I had terrible eyesight, and while I had good eyesight, I could, knock the cover off a ball, but eventually I couldn't follow the ball coming off of the pitcher's hand to the plate.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to be a baseball player. So no matter how hard I tried, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So, if you're working at something that isn't naturally you, change course and direction and find out what is naturally you, and the things that you need will come to you from the source, as just as the light and the sunshine and water come to the plants to make them grow.
Yeah, and that's not easy always. Sometimes people want to talk you out of that path. They want you. I've noticed this about I want to say Americans, but just people in general. I've not been out of the country, so I can only have Americans to compare to. But just people in general, I know that if you say, well, this is what I want to do. Well, no, you should do this. They always have their plan for you, and then there's your plan for you.
Right, and why should you give anybody else power over you by taking their advice because somehow you think they know something better than you do about how do you live your life?
I know family members put a lot of that on people. Like well, you should be this way, you should be that way. And sometimes I know for a couple times in my life where I found myself in places where I didn't really necessarily want to be because I was trying to please other people. And that's what it is.
There you go. What the Tao teaches is you find your own way, your own path, your raison d'etre, the reason you were created. Find out what makes you tick. My dad used to put it in very, very, colloquial terms. He said, son, you'll never get a beagle to point at a pheasant, and you will, never get an Irish setter to go chase a rabbit.
Your dad sounds very confusing.
Well, well, it's taking away back, but we're bred for certain things, and right. That's what we need to do is follow what we're meant to do, and not engage in things that we just know aren't us.
Kathy, have you ever had any experience where the universe took care of you, or the opposite, or you thought it should and it didn't?
Both.
More than one on one side or the other?
I agree with what you said so wholeheartedly.
Who's that? That Mike said?
Yeah. Okay. I truly believe that it's important to live your purpose, what you were created to do. But sometimes it takes a while to figure out what that is, and we do get distracted. I think women in general, we get distracted more. Because we're nurturing. We have, quote, responsibilities set on us by society to be the wife and the mother. And there are many times in my life where doors would open up for me to live my purpose, but I had responsibilities to be a mother and a wife first.
Yeah. I think men feel something similar to that as well.
I think that. You think so?
Yeah, well, when they're parents, they are, sure. When you're a parent, right. You have responsibility.
You do. You have a responsibility.
I put a few things aside for
absolutely,
my family.
And I have too. Yeah. And I'm glad I did, because it helped form a lot of who I am and gave me a lot of insight into other people's journeys.
Interesting. I know that, like I said, there's people out there that think that this whole thing, they're like, you got to make your way and you got to do. I feel like it's hard sometimes to say this is the path that I want. This is what feels right for me. I think a lot of people that are transgender and some of these other, have these other things going on with them, I think they feel that on some level too. I'm not saying, what I'm saying is that they feel in their heart this is the way they want to be. People are telling them, no, that's not who you are. And it's hard to reconcile that, because you still have to go out. You still got to live your life. You still got to interact with other people, and people definitely, and you lean on people sometimes. I don't know if you've got people that you talk to.
Absolutely.
I'm sure, Mike, you talk to anybody anymore. You just stopped. I
just stopped.
He's like, I have no need for that at this point.
I'm a follower of the way.
Yeah. I'm an extrovert. I like to talk to people. So it was funny. I have a new patient, and he's an old Jewish fellow, and he's hysterical because he said, wow, I just met this guy. Hey, what's going on with your family? And he's asking me questions, and I started to tell him. And then about halfway through the sentence, he goes, yeah, I'm not paying you for this. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry I answered your question. I'll put my phone away. Good gravy. Yeah. So, but it's funny because, again, trying to please him, trying to answer his questions. But at the end of the day, he's like, I'm not really interested in that. So you got to find where that fine line is of pleasing other people and then also pleasing yourself, I think. Anyway, you're listening to imho.love. We're on Tan Talk. The phone numbers if you want to join the conversation. If you've had an experience where the universe, you were like, I'm in desperate need, and you just waited and something happened that solved your problem or helped solve your problem, give us a call. The phone number is 727-441-3000. That's 441-3000. And then toll free, 1-866-826-1340. Join us on the show. And don't call up if you're being a dork. What does that say? Oh, it says Universal coverage.
Yeah. Universal. This is the Tampa Bay Times this week, and they had they're advertising abduction insurance.
What?
Are you serious?
Abduction insurance.
Oh, I need to know more. Please tell me more.
Well, I read it in another article. I just saw it, topically on the newspaper here. But yeah, they're selling insurance now for people that are afraid of being abducted. Now, I thought about this. It's like
I bet you did.
It's like, yeah.
What are they covering?
How do you collect? How do you prove it? I was abducted. Wait, I was.
You better come with some video proof or something.
Yeah, you better have something. And what are the chances of that? Nobody has ever come back with any video proof. Excuse me. While you're probing me, can I please use my iPhone so my friends will believe this when I get back? I have an insurance policy, by the way.
Yeah, let's just get a selfie so I can document this.
It's like, how crazy is that?
Well, what are they covering though? It's insurance. What are they covering?
I haven't read the policy, but they're covering your abduction. I guess there'd be time from work, injury.
Time from work.
Sorry. Of course, that's if they bring you back later as opposed to before you ever left. So
before you had the job,
they can cover that. So.
Hand me that newspaper. I'm going to find the article and put it in the discussion here because that's just too funny. That's definitely a read.
Oh. Well, it's strange that the article comes out in the same week that the Navy announces that they are now they're formulating new guidelines for engaging UFOs. Now, since December, when they came out with the very short 1 minute and 17-second clip from the Nimitz, which
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't? Well, that was there was a.
That was the movie that was based on that.
No, there was no movie. This just came out. There was an F-16, a couple of F-16 that engaged what they called a Tic Tac. And it did phenomenal things, and the government only leaked 1 minute and 17 seconds of a very blurry video, but there are people on the ship that saw the official video, which was very clear and lasted over 10 minutes. But in a way, this is a backdoor, this is soft disclosure. You had in December the leak, it was covered on Fox. And then so all of a sudden you have the Navy admitting that, there's unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP or UFOs going on. Of course, the Navy's had Operation Blue Book since 1947, and that's a whole other story because it covers all the UFOs and everything else, that was involved with the military and UFO, alien, whatever you want to call it, phenomenon from that time on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big thing right now with in my area. Or the people that I engage with, the whole disclosure thing.
Where can people find this if online they want to read more about it? Maybe see that video clip. Is there a place where they can see it?
Yeah, they can. They can. The older videos. They can go to Fox News and just do Fox News. Tucker Carlson UFO, and he's got a few in his series right now. They can go to my Facebook, my ranch Facebook website. And most recent stuff is there. You have to go digging back to December if you want to see the other stuff, but it's readily available now.
What's the ranch website?
Let's see.
Sorry, I'm hitting you with a tough
Facebook. Tampa HICE/CE5 Darby Ranch. Cool. It's been changed.
That's your Facebook page. Yeah, Facebook group. Nice.
So yeah, you can find it there, and if not, you can you can post there, or you can email me at darbyranchce5@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to find it for you and send it to you if you can't. Yeah,
if you want to comment on anything that Mike just said, give us a call on the phone, 727-441-3000, 1-866-826-1340. Lou Angel Wolf is off this evening. He's seeing some live show. What is he doing? Is he in the woods seeing Max Creek? What is he up to?
I have no idea. A buddy of his gave him free tickets to a band, and then all of a sudden he realized, it's a Wednesday night, and he's already committed. So
he's got to go.
Lou, enjoy yourself. Have a good night off.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you grief because you're seeing a band that I probably wouldn't like. That's fine. He's into his grassroots earthy stuff, and God bless him. So my name is Chris Gorges. I'm filling in. I'm a comedian. And apparently I'm a contractor too now. That's what I do. I paint and I turn myself into a contractor. I got people coming by. How much you want for your house? You gonna live in it? I've never seen so many people interested. If you want to like make friends in a neighborhood, just start working on a home. And they come from all over. It's insane.
Right, you want to get rid of them, give them a paintbrush.
I had one guy show up that wanted to do sheetrock work, but he gave me 3 different quotes in 5 minutes. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna hire you, dude. He probably had meat in his backpack. That's what I'm guessing. He's selling meat and beef and had a bike for sale. Has that ever happened to you, Vaughn? You ever been offered food here at the place?
It's been a variety of things, but
variety of things. Oh, God, all food items or just like a wagon?
I'd say probably asking for money or ride.
Okay, well that's asking for things. This guy was offering me something. I mean, he wanted money for it.
Well, there's quite a bohemian mix out there in this neighborhood.
Yes.
It really is.
It
really is. You got Asian guys walking pit bulls. You got, really.
I had one dude skateboarding here and cursed off somebody in traffic because they got mad at him. He's on a longboard and he rolls up to the house. And then a second later, he leaves the house, gets back on his longboard, goes down the street, turns around like he's gone for a minute. Then I see him coming back. He's got a little, I'm not making this up. He's got a little teeny pink guitar. It's like a kid's guitar. And he's strumming it as he's playing. Like he's excited. I'm like, what in the hell is this guy doing? And then he rolls up to the house and jumps in the house. I'm like, that's the strangest thing I've ever. He's a full-grown man playing a little pink guitar. I don't know, dude. I have no idea. I don't know how this place has been here for a while, but the neighborhood's gone a little cuckoo. Let me just say that. A little cuckoo. You're listening to imho.love. You can check out the website and see all the stuff that they talk about on the show and also past episodes. And Kathy, you still involved in all the social media and everything? What's going on Facebook? Is anybody saying hello? Who we got on there? 2 live viewers. Look out. We're on fire. I'm a huge draw. I don't know if you know that, Mike.
Yeah, I can tell.
That Facebook loves
Hi,
me.
Mark.
Hi, Mark. Who's Mark? Do you know Mark?
No, I don't know Mark. I don't know any of these people.
You said that like you shared a summer together in France with him.
That was very Delilah, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was kind of
Hi,
Delilah.
Mark. Remember
Hi,
me?
Mark. Remember me?
Summer of '92.
That's it. Remember we got that meat together, we grilled it, and we hung out on the beach. We're talking about when the universe takes care of you and when it does not. And the reason I threw in the when it does not is because I was thinking of the prayer thing. Like I'm thinking of like the most horrible situations, which I'm not going to get into describing, but imagine, like in Africa and other places where you've got violence a lot, and people, there's a lot of Christians in some of these countries, and they're when the violence comes, they're praying, right? But sometimes the violence doesn't stop, and they end up getting hurt or killed, even though they prayed really hard. They really wanted the universe to intervene, and it didn't. Is there a reason for that? Why is that? Why, if you want it bad enough, or if you allow the universe to take control of it, it doesn't do anything?
Well, the first thing you mentioned was violence, and violence and war are the two things that take the peaceful nature of human reality, and spiritual reality, and toss it on its head. War and violence completely change the paradigm. And that's why it's so important, is to reverse the war and the violence, to intentionally change the paradigm. So we recognize that you are me and I am you, and that we're all connected. And what I do to you, I do to myself. And what you do to me, you do to yourself, because, this is one human race that's connected to a universe, and everything created is connected to us in one way, shape, or form, or the other. And to see that as otherwise is the illusion that we live today. And once you get rid of that illusion and see that we're all connected and that we all benefit from each other's benefits, then we get to a worldview that can sustain human life and make come to fruition the way they were born to be in this natural world.
Interesting. No, that is a mouthful right there. Definitely a mouthful. And listen, a lot of the things that you said in the past have stuck with me. Just in general, trying to let, like, people operating from ego. We had a big episode on Utopia about ego, and I see people operating from that place a lot, and they can't help themselves, And I wonder if those people, or I wonder if people, the people that always have problems. We talked about that. And a lot of these people are good-natured people, right? And I bet you they want the universe to take control, and they've given up a little bit to the universe, or maybe all those people. Why is that? Is there a reason for that? Is there maybe a different meaning? Like, you know how they say God doesn't always, his plan isn't always the plan that you want.
Well, once again, you have to get back to what is ego doing. Who was it that said stand-up comedy is the last stand of the ego's last stand? Keep on forgetting his name.
Me, I said that.
Okay, we'll give that to you. But you have, number one, you have to realize that we're infinite beings that have an infinite past and an infinite future, and this is a spiritual voyage. It's a spiritual voyage through a physical reality, and that's where the CE5 stuff comes into play, because you start realizing that there are different dimensions, there are different densities of light, there are all these different entities that have crossed these densities and dimensions to be incarnated here in this planet at this time with us for this evolution. And once through this life, and you get put through the ringer, but at the end of the day, at the end of the life, you have to say, okay, where am I spiritually now as compared to where I began?
Yeah.
And if you're living any life that, oh wow, I want that shiny car, I want this, I want that, I need all these things to placate my ego because it's so fragile and so small.
Or you've been taught that. I mean, people have been taught that.
Of the materialistic society that we live in, we've eliminated the phenomenological. For example, a couple of things. Do you realize that the beginning of modern science under René Descartes 400 years ago came as a consequence of a dream he had where an angel appeared to him and basically said, measurement and mathematics are going to be the beginning of what you're looking for. So, modern science is atheistic in its nature and has completely denied the existence of a supreme being or a supreme intelligence, started
because of a dream about an angel.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. And then here's another one. I've been researching this a little bit, and I'll be writing giving another presentation on it sometime in September and again in November. But George Washington himself, do you know that about Washington, the Valley? Yes.
Okay. What do we got? 1 minute? We got 1 minute left. You're listening to imho.love. My name is Chris Gorges. I'm your guest host, I guess you could call me this evening.
Yep.
I'm in there with Mike Murburg, who's always here. He's a host. And then Kathy McGuire, who is sometimes a host, but sometimes a host from the other room. Sometimes she does it from here, and then sometimes she does it in there. And then next week she's going to do it from the mango tree outside. It's going to be
absolutely.
Yeah, because you don't want to be here.
I want to look for the guy with the meat in the backpack.
Oh, he'll be back.
Oh, I know he will.
Well, because I said, look, if you got fruit, then we can talk.
Absolutely. Some mangoes would be wonderful. Absolutely. Those don't spoil as easily.
I don't get a chance to do this very often. I miss doing radio. I miss doing my podcast. But like I said, I've been working on a house for 8 months. When we come back from the break, we're going to get Mike to expound a little bit on George Watt, because I'm curious what the hell happened at Valley Forge.
Washington and the ET.
Washington and the ET?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Just come back. Good. Don't go away.
Yep. We'll be back for another second half of imho.love right here on Tan Talk 1340. We'll be back in just a second.
WTAN Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR Zephyr Hills,
FM 104.3.
Listen.
Charged, boy's body found. I'm Barbara Cusack. A California man has been jailed on 8 counts of attempted murder after authorities say he drove his car through a crosswalk, injuring 8 people. 13 public safety chief said there is no evidence linking Isaiah Joel Peoples, a 34-year-old Army veteran, to known terrorist organizations, but Tuesday's crash appeared deliberate. Wrapped in plastic in a field, police in Crystal Lake, Illinois, believe they have found the body of a 5-year-old boy, AJ Friend, nearly a week after he was reported missing.
Police announcing information from AJ's parents led investigators to the body of the 5-year-old boy.
Based on the current information and evidence, both Joanne Cunningham and Andrew Friend are being charged with the death and disappearance of AJ.
Earlier in the day, law enforcement seen removing items, including a shovel and mattress from the boy's home. I'm Kristen Holmes reporting.
President Trump says the congressional investigations into his conduct and finances are politically motivated by Democrats with an eye on the 2020 elections.
The subpoena is ridiculous. I have been the most transparent president and administration in the history of our country by far.
Facebook expects to be fined up to $5 billion by the Federal Trade Commission as it investigates whether the social network site violated its users' privacy. Correspondent Jan Johnson reports UN health watchdogs have made their first recommendations for screen time for kids under 5.
The World Health Organization says infants and children under the age of 1 shouldn't spend any time in front of TVs or computers, and kids under 5 shouldn't be spending more than an hour a day watching a video screen. Even less than that would be better.
Tesla posted a first quarter net loss of more than $700 million as sales of its electric cars have slumped and demand appears waning. I'm Barbara Cusack.
It's not a garden, it's a canvas. And the Home Depot has everything you need to fill yours with colorful annuals. Beautiful, vibrant 6-inch assorted annuals. Get 4 of them now for just $10. Add a splash of red here, orange and yellow there. Turn that garden into a work of art. Today is the day for doing. Start with fresh 6-inch assorted annuals, 4 for just $10. Now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only. Selection varies by store.
And now, an ad from Mom.
Bundle home and auto with Progressive and save on your car insurance. Excuse me, maybe we should add in the word money so they know that they're saving money. I'm just going to add that in there, okay? Hello? Just nodding at me. Okay, well, he's got enough buttons to push in there.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, did you know there's a live psychology talk show Thursday and Friday at noon where you can call in and get free guidance and also learn several different topics relating to ending the stigma of mental health? It's called Moments of Clarity on WTAN 1340 AM. It's with licensed therapist Tiffany Warner, who will try to end the stigma of mental health. But the only way you can do that is to listen to Moments of Clarity Thursday and Friday at noon on WTAN 1340 AM, the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, Bay Area, this is Bad Craig, host of WTAN's newest talk show, Smoke Cigars, Tampa's only true lifestyle show. With me and my sidekick, Mr. Producer, we will feature many of the local Tampa Bay cigar shops. We'll keep you updated on cigar-related news, cigar tips, and trends. We'll also talk to some of the biggest names in the cigar industry. All this and so much more. So sit back, grab your favorite smoke, and enjoy. Right here on Smoke Cigars, Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on WTAN Radio Network.
Hello there, Tampa Bay. This is former NFL and college football coach Jimmy Johnson. Listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can sure use the attention.
And this is former Major League Baseball player, Hall of Famer Wade Boggs. I also hope you listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They can darn sure use the money.
Hi there. This is marine wildlife artist and conservationist Dr. Guy Harvey. Please listen to the Kelly Show every Monday starting at 5 p.m. They need to feel worthy.
Are you looking for some Monday motivation? I'm Karina Morrison.
And on Mondays on Tan Talk Radio Network from 7 to 9 a.m.
The Shop Local for Good News team will be bringing you the good news stories from your neighborhoods, from small business owners and local nonprofit leaders.
Visit us at shoplocalforgoodnews.com or tune in Mondays, 7 to 9 a.m. Tan Talk Radio Network.
That's shoplocalforgoodnews.com.
Are you looking for a job? Join me, Gene Hodge, on the Employment Opportunity Hour, Thursdays from 7 to 8 p.m., where I will tell you and share with you, as well as answer all of your questions and help you find enjoyable employment instead of a job. This is the only talk show that talks about everyone who makes up our workforce. Join me on the Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. on the Employment Opportunity Hour.
There's only one place on the radio where golfers like you can turn for the best tips, interviews, product reviews, local tournaments, and everything golf talk. The Golf Show, guys.
Hey, join the Golf Show, guys, every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's not just funny, it's informative, it's celebrities, and it's a lot of applause. It's the Golf Show, guys, Wednesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Yeah, that is like that music is like a guy's warming up to go fight the street gang that has menaced his neighborhood for years.
Trying to sell him meat.
Yeah, I got meat for you. Welcome back to imho.love. We're in the studio at Tan Talk 1340 AM radio. If you want to give us a call this half hour, the phone numbers are 727-441-3000, 1-866-826-1340. In the studio, we've got Michael Murburg and we've got Kathy McGuire. Before the break, we were talking about, actually the subject of the show, because Lou's on vacation, by the way. He's on vacation. He's never coming back. He's on vacation. He's going to the mountains. He's going to hike Nepal. He's done. No, he'll be back next week. I'm filling in for him. My name is Chris Gorges. But before the break, we were talking about when the universe does you right and when it doesn't do you right. And we were talking about basically people that operate from their ego. It seems to be a big thing. People can't, it happens in traffic all the time. I think 95% of the traffic situations where people get pissed off, they just don't want to admit that they did something stupid or that, you know what I mean? And they get angry. And it just amazes me. And also in comedy clubs, I'm a stand-up comedian. And now you put alcohol in people and they start to get chatty in comedy clubs and you ask them to be quiet. Their ego will not allow them to be told to be quiet. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I've actually had people say, no, I'm not going to. Why are you telling me that? It's like, you're in a public place and you're being obnoxious and you're being asked to be quiet. If it was me, I'd be embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like, that's just who I am. Sorry. No, not a lot of people nowadays are like, you don't get to tell me what to do. I'm like, yeah, we kind of do. But again, that's the ego thing. So Mike teased us with a little bit of a story about George Washington. I don't know if any of you out there know who he is. He's attached to the country in some weird way. But apparently he had an issue at Valley Forge. That's another thing that maybe you know, maybe you don't. Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we had to go to break, so now we're back. Tell us, Valley Forge?
Yeah,
George Washington.
Valley Forge. For those who don't understand the Valley Forge was the lowest point during the Revolutionary War. It was the coldest winter of the century. The troops had abandoned the Washington. They're heading out in droves, and he was at his lowest spiritual point. And he went into a grove in the woods with one of his adjutants. And this report came back by way of the adjutant. And I just started researching this, and essentially what happened is Washington went into the grove and met with, and shiny beings appeared, and they showed him a map of what the United States was going to be someday. And as they dropped droplets of water on the map, cities appeared, and then he had a complete vision of what he was working for.
Wow.
And then he came out of that grove transfixed, and then the rest is history.
Interesting. And that's the famous painting of them on the boat. Is that going across?
No, that's actually
the Delaware. Excuse me.
That's the Delaware River, and that's they're going across the Delaware River to attack the Hessians in Trenton, and surprise attack. Washington was a great general. There's no doubt about that.
Now, this is stuff that you're researching for a book that you're doing, yes?
Yeah, it started out as a lecture that I gave for UFO MegaCon last month.
Where was that?
I was out in Laughlin, Nevada. Lou and I went, and I got a chance to lecture and meet some really wonderful people.
That's awesome.
And what my lecture was on was the connection between heightened states of spiritual consciousness and ET, NHIB, non-human intelligences, and celestial contact from about 12,000 BC to present, as reflected in the art history that existed from the Neolithic time through the modern ages. It became very prominent in Baroque art. And in Renaissance art as well. It's in the literature. Back in the Roman historians had commented. I didn't get into that into the lecture. I'll get into it into the book. And
so it's a light lecture.
It's a light reading, and these things. This has gone on for quite a while. Matter of fact, Thomas Jefferson. We know that Jimmy Carter saw the UFO and he reported it. So Carter's an experiencer. But go back to Jefferson. Jefferson may have been an experiencer, but when he was president, there were two fellows from Louisiana, two educated, well-to-do people that saw a UFO, and they wrote to Jefferson about it, and that's part of the congressional or historical record. And then we also have Lincoln's dream, and those of us who understand that there's a connection between the dream state and transportation and what are known as downloads. The dream state is a very state that's open to ET, NHIB contact. And Lincoln's dream that he told his wife, in the last year of his life, was that he dreamt he had been taken by some beings in a ship, and they took him off the planet, and he experienced and they explored the universe and came back. So we've been having these these experiences throughout history, and some major historical figures have been having the experiences in contact. And everybody, we were just talking about the article of the insurance, shame coverage. Shame coverage, because if you come back and tell anybody that you've had contact with extraterrestrials or aliens, there's a difference, but I prefer the extraterrestrial because there's far more contact with extraterrestrials than I would call aliens. But people were so afraid to mention it or tell anybody that it got dusted off into the dustbins of history, when it's been going on for many, many years, and it's here today. And I really want to thank the United States Navy for going public in December with the contact video that they had, and now going extremely public. This is an article that was in Politico this week, and they said, we take this seriously now, and we're training our officers what to do when engagement comes.
Well, it's interesting to me because I've not had the CE5 experience like you and Lou. I've not been involved in that. I did have some sort of an experience in Vegas where I saw some lights above the Luxor Hotel. I told you about that on Utopia. It was interesting and unexplained, and interesting enough to me, and it had an effect enough on me to have me call the casino the next day and find out if there was something going on at the hotel that I may have witnessed, like some sort of a celebration or skydivers, whatever it was. But I was talking to another comedian about this. I don't know how we got on the subject of just UFOs, and he just was like, this was his comment. I thought, and again, I'm working the 4 agreements, the 5 agreements. I'm working them pretty hard. The 5th agreement, if you do not know, is always be skeptical, but learn to listen. And so I'm always skeptical of things. But this guy was like beyond. He was like, basically, he said, well, if there's really UFOs or anything, why would they come all the way to Earth and then just turn around and go back home? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why.
Well, how about this one? Because they live here too. Because this is a multidimensional plane.
That's an interesting.
And they can pop in and pop out of what we see as reality at any given time.
I guess for him, his question was, why wouldn't there be more definitive contact on a more global level? Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, because we end up like killing things and eating them. Want to buy a possum?
I've got this thing that I came
again, we
across
don't know what kind of meat was in that backpack. That's all I'm going to say. We have no clue.
Well, listen, I like this guy, but at the same time, and again, I can't argue on your point because I have not experienced it. I'm I need to experience that sort of thing. But I don't argue that But he immediately was like, well, no, it's impossible. I'm like, listen, dude, I don't know if you realize how big the universe is. You know what I mean? It's infinite. You're nothing in this universe. So let's just talk mathematics, okay? I believe things, or I lean towards things that are probable, that are plausible. What you're saying is not plausible, that we're the only thing. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that we're the only, or that, with all these things, like last week you found out that black holes are real. I mean, up until now they were unsure. They actually got a photo of one. It's huge.
Yes, and how did we even conceive of black holes? Because Einstein proved mathematically that they exist.
That's right.
And math, as being the language of God, language of the universe, tells us what's going to happen before we can actually experience and see it. That's why we know there are 9 to 10 different dimensions other than the 3 we live in. Here's another question for your bud. Is like, look, this universe, this little part of our universe is 14 billion years old. The Earth has been here there for 4 billion years. That means somebody else out there's got a 10 billion year head start on us. So guess where do you think they are on the curve?
Well, and he immediately was like, well, they couldn't possibly be better. I'm like, why not? Why couldn't they possibly be better? I said, all it takes is for that planet to be in the right spot in their solar system to have life just like we have it, or maybe advanced. Maybe, it depends on what elements are on their planet. You know what I mean? We don't know all the elements in the universe yet. We don't know them all.
And who says they have to be carbon based to begin with?
That's correct.
Could be silicon based. They hell, they could drink arsenic for all I know.
Well, exactly, or breathe it. I didn't bother to get into that lengthy of a discussion because I could see his brain automatically, just shut.
Yeah, it's got a 3-dimensional materialist brain. Sorry.
Bit of an ego too. Am I?
I was going to go with the. I was going to go with the ego. I was just going to go with the ego.
Well, it's almost like his ego was saying, I can't accept that because I can't. Look, I'm a person. I'm open. I'm open to whatever. You know what I mean? I always have been. And yeah, I'm a cynic, and yeah, I razz people here and there because I learn a long time. For me, it's got to be true to me. If I've experienced it, then it's true to me. Okay, but I've not been involved in photosynthesis. You know what I mean? But I understand the concept. It makes sense, and it's logical to me. So when he said that it's impossible, like that doesn't follow logic to me. Logic would dictate that if it happened here and the universe is as big as it is, it can happen somewhere. And yeah, these other things like parallel dimensions and all these things, they could be possible.
Well, then, the possibility of consciousness being the basis of all creation and the basis of the universe, and you can orchestrate consciousness to orchestrate the kind of universe that you want and the kind of future you want, which they're starting to say, my peers are starting to say, yeah, that's what's going on. You can manifest whatever you want if you can imagine it and make it happen.
Is that the secret?
I think it is.
You know what I'm talking about, that secret thing? Remember when it was a big thing where you will it into fruition?
Yeah, it's a manner of that.
Not Oprah's secret, another type.
Well, yeah, well, it's.
I'm kidding.
But it's something like that. We can't definitively say exactly what it is, but conscious manifests reality, as opposed to reality manifesting conscious.
Listen, there are many times when I've been talking about something or complaining that I want something to happen, I talk about it, and then a week later that thing happens. Or like a person that I haven't talked to for a while. I really wish that person would be. And then a week later I hear from that person. I'm like, wow, that's weird.
You realize you're connected on so many different levels. And just to say that, it's chance is just ridiculous, because serendipity happens with such a high frequency that it dwarfs the frequency of chance.
Interesting. I remember my father said to me one time, my father was an interesting fellow, and he believed in a lot of different things. He didn't want me to steal, right? He didn't want me to steal, because I went through a little phase when I was younger where I shoplifted. And I didn't take things from people. I always took them from stores. I'd take candy and crap like that, right? And he said to me, look, I'm not going to get on you about that. You're going to get in trouble. But don't start stealing from people. I'm like, why? He believed that there was a spiritual connection, not only to the people, but the things that they own. So if you took something from somebody, that thing was still connected to that person in some way. I thought that was a very interesting thing for him to say. He's like,
absolutely right.
Really? Yeah, he just felt like there was some sort of a spiritual connection with the object to the person. If you removed it from the person, it was still connected to that person.
Right. Even the Native Americans, for example, if they gave you something, if you say, hey, I like your pipe, and they give, you like it, here, give it meat. Well, they give you something. Well, what happened if you did something to disgrace them and people knew that I had given you their pipe? They would be justified in coming back and say, I'm taking my pipe back because I don't want it associated with you anymore, because
I would love to be able to do that. Are you kidding me?
Isn't that cool?
Oh, I would love to go back and take some things from some people. But listen, remember that thing I gave you? You were a jackass. I want that back.
You don't deserve that good thing. Sorry.
Oh, I'd have so much stuff right now.
I'm not naming any names. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting enough that with the stealing thing, what your father was also telling you is do not steal. Number one, because and they found that people who steal have a lot of times are out there trying to get help. They're suffering from low self-esteem. So they're trying to fill that hole in their self-esteem with other things, with material. And
I wanted candy and food that my dad wouldn't buy. That was my thing.
Yeah, but the fact that you were willing to go steal it was a reflection on your suffering. You're battling low self-esteem. Which your dad said, no, stop it. You don't need to do that. You need to, fill that hole with yourself and then go on through your life and be better.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Yeah, he had some interesting advice. He also had some crappy advice too. He flipped both sides of the coin.
Well, it's up to you to choose. It's like what rings true to you, and find out what rings true to you and use it. The rest of it, it's like forget it.
Well, when you're 15, anything he says, that's gospel. Then when you get like 25, 30, you're like, wait a second. Because my dad once told me, when you get married, you're not meant to be happy. And I'm like, that's horrible advice. You are meant to, you don't have to not be happy. He's like, no, you don't get to be be. I'm like, all right, bro, whatever. So that wasn't very good advice.
Well, actually, Archie Bunker said the same thing.
Archie Bunker?
Same thing. He says, misery is what marriage is all about.
Well, look, he was a miserable person.
Well,
I don't want to do it.
Marriage doesn't change anything. You're either miserable coming in or miserable going out. But
I agree. I just thought that advice was like, okay, dude, I think there's a little bit more to that. He didn't do very well in those marriages. You're listening to imho.love. We're on Tan Talk. We got about another, 5, 7, 8 minutes, something like that. The phone number, if you want to call, 727-441-3000, 1-866-826-1340. We've been talking about when the universe does you wrong and when it does you right. And Kathy said you had some wrong things and some right things. What's a really good thing where the universe, everything just clicked for you?
Don't put me on the spot right
Why?
now.
Have you not been thinking about it? We've been talking about it.
No, I haven't. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah?
I think about
What
those
stands out?
full circle moments.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good full circle moments in my life.
Mhm.
And a lot of them surround music.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel that is my main purpose here.
Now, are you a singer? Or
I'm a singer.
You're a singer.
I'm a singer.
And so some of those moments have been where you've kind of let things go the way they go, and then it works out where you're in a position where you're able to perform.
Sometimes when you force things to happen,
Mhm.
but it's very interesting how people and places will reconnect where I'm supposed to be. It's happened several times.
Does it take a long time?
Sometimes it does.
Yeah. So you got to be
Sometimes it
patient.
does. You got to be patient. Yeah.
But now, are you singing professionally now? Or?
Yeah, I am.
Where do you sing at?
I do a cabaret series at Pour Yours in downtown Cleveland once
Wonderful.
a month. I occasionally do some shows at Dolce, and I'm working now with a production company that's going to be touring. And that's what I was really looking for.
Really?
To go out and, that's where you make
be on
the
the road.
money. You make more money on the road.
Sure.
And you sing a lot less. You sing like 10 songs in a show. So it's better for your voice than singing 4 hours.
And at some bar somewhere.
And I'm not really the bar singer. I do have a band and I do have a guitarist that we're going to do some duo stuff. But
you think a lot of musicians are desperate trying to make it happen, trying to force it to happen?
I don't know. I'm older, so I probably have a different perspective. When I was 20, it was different from now. So I have a very different perspective of what I want to do with my music.
I was never desperate when I was younger. I worked with a lot of comics that were, I got to get on TV. I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to be a good comedian and be funny and do good shows and make a little bit of money. I guess I wasn't worried about the other stuff. Again, it's ego. I got the guys that are operating.
I think ego. And as a singer, one of the things I do is before I sing, I remove the ego because I feel like the spirit can't flow through me to message people through my music if I have my ego in the way. And I can tell the difference. And I know that sounds really weird, but that's just my personal philosophy.
No, it's not. It's not any weirder than trying to sell meat out of a backpack.
I know. I am so curious what that meat is.
I'm hoping that I run into Meat Guy. I'm going to call him Meat Guy
Meat
just
Guy,
for purposes.
Meat Guy.
I just want to know what kind of meat. That's all. Just want to know. If you're out there listening to Meat Guy, just text us and let me know if it was pork, was it chicken? What kind of meat did you have in there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Combo pack.
Now, next week, what do you guys got lined up for the show? You're here every week. Lou's going to be back, I'm assuming. He's got to come back, right, at some point.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, what we might talk about is epigenetic memory.
Epigenetic?
Yeah, epigenetic memory.
Which is, tell me what that is.
What happens is something bad happens to you. Your genetic memory is passed down. They've done studies with
sort of like an imprint?
Yeah, it is. And they've gotten it to 14 generations now. One of the studies had to do with the concentration camp victims and then the kids and the other kids. And an older study involved starvation in Sweden and how the epigenetic problems were passed out for many generations as a consequence of famine and starvation. But this week we had a celebration of the 104th anniversary of the Ludlow, Colorado massacre.
Oh, lovely.
Have you ever heard about that that one?
I have not heard of the Ludlow, Colorado massacre.
Well, this is the kind of stuff they don't teach you in history, and this is one of the aha things that we got going on here with imho.love. Is 104 years ago in Ludlow, Colorado, the mine workers went on strike and stopped working, and then the mines kicked them and their families out of their homes, and then they ended up living in tents outside the city. And the governor of Colorado called the National Guard to break the strike. And the strikers and their families refused to move, and they massacred, I think it was 34 people, 13 of whom were children.
Oh, God.
And yeah, and I bring this up for anybody who believes that the United States government, this is in 1914.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 105 years ago.
Yeah.
If you think that the government is not capable of marching the troops in and opening fire on men, women, and children, there's historical precedent to show us that it can and did, and it does happen, and it's something that we always have to be aware of.
Okay, that was a bit sobering.
Sobering. It's the aha moment. So
okay, I get it. Yeah, I mean, we've had other instances. Kent State was one of those instances where some students were fired upon and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, there have been a few. I mean, obviously the civil rights movement, we had a lot of government coming down on people.
13 children under the age of 12 were killed.
Yeah, that's something. That is something.
That's the killing children. So, you know, what's going on in the world today, we had the bombings, we've had all these horrible things taking place. And it's just got to stop. It really just has to stop. People have to just throw down their arms and say, let's talk and let's try to find a way to peace and to take care of each other.
Well, on that point, I agree. I totally do. I think, the violence isn't going to help. And it seems like, it's tit for tat at this point. I mean, one side gets angry and hurts. It's almost like it's like gang warfare
and
on
that's
a global level.
That's how ego operates.
Sure.
That's how, and another thing, when I was on the show on The Biggest Loser, Dalvet, it was a good coach. And he said, we're talking about ego. And he said, ego. Yeah. To me, that means exit God out.
Interesting.
So whether you believe in a supreme being or God as a Christian or Muslim or whoever conventionally believes in it. But when you do ego, then you exit out whatever that holy connection between you and the supreme creator is. And that doesn't do anybody any good when you do that.
Interesting. I'm not on the show on a regular basis, and I do bring up the 4 agreements quite a bit, where somebody actually said, "Oh, I'm not going to follow your cult rules." I thought that was pretty funny, and I'm like, "It's not a cult, all right." First of all, but a lot of those things put your ego in check. A lot of those agreements, that's exactly what they do. They put your ego in check. They make you take your needs out of it, and kind of like even things out to where you're like, "All right, it's not about me all the time." Sometimes it's not about me at all.
And that's what compassion is all about.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had a guy call me a wonderful man today. One of my patients said, "You're a wonderful man." I don't know what that means.
And you are.
They've done some bad things in my life, not illegal bad things, just, not the best things. But I've only met the guy once or twice, and he was very nice. I don't know. It was a very odd thing for him to say, because this guy's all about money. It's too funny. I said, "What are your hobbies?" He goes, "I'm making money." Like, okay. Anyway, I think we've come down to the end of another show. We got a minute and a half or something like that. Kathy, you want to tell anybody where they can find you, where they can connect with you online, what you got going on?
Well, first, I want to make sure everyone knows to go to imho.love, Facebook, as well as our website and our YouTube channel. You can find everything on there, and plus we also are on all multiple forums. You can listen to it. You can watch a video. Yeah, we have a little bit of everything. You just go to our website and learn more about us, or our Facebook page. And I want to give a oh my gosh, we have all kinds of people watching.
Yeah,
today.
Facebook Live.
This is crazy. All these people. Pat,
give them a shout out real quick.
Debbie, Therese, Brad, Richard, Dan, Spike, blah, 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 on and on and on and on. And Kevin, hello. Yes.
Blah, 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 was the rest. Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
Well, you're rushing me now. So blah, blah, blah.
No, I was just pumping up. I was getting pumped up.
Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. Lou will be happy, and he misses you. I know he does.
Oh, but not right now, because he's at the show.
Let me get a plug in.
Yes.
Once again,
Mike Murburg.
Need to get a hold of me. You can find my website, disabilityattorney.net. That's open and available 24/7. So for what it's worth. Thanks.
Perfect. Hey, thank you so much for joining us this evening on imho.love here in Tantalk. My name is Chris Gorges. You can check me out at gorgescomedy.com. See my shows, GORGES Comedy. It was great fun hosting, and thanks for having me here, guys. And I'm going to go get some meat, I think. Yeah, it's dinner time. We'll see you guys another time next week. They'll be back with Lou Angel. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night, everybody.
The wrong game with the wrong chips. Though your lips are tempted, the wrong lips. They're not her lips, but